There has never been a better time than now to come join the Bellisio Foods team. Bellisio has a new contract in place with plenty of awesome perks for their employees. From increased wages, access to the free health clinic, vacation after 6 months, and much more, Bellisio Foods is committed to putting their employees first. For more information or to apply, visit BellisioFoods.com/careers. Take advantage of these great new employee benefits and join the Bellisio team today. Visit BellisioFoods.com/careers to learn more.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. And, of course, Jennifer here to start off your morning with our good friend Pete Wilson, who is in the house to do the morning news update, of course, brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you're looking to buy or sell, you give Nia a call, 740-418-4135, and she'll be working hard for you.
Okay.
Pete, your people call my people.
I know. How about that?
We match.
We're coordinated.
Sort of.
This is a high tech production. You know,
that's right.
Things are planned out, right? Kind of. All right.
Yes.
Supposedly.
So it looks like you have a lot of news to report this morning.
Well, I have some news to report. We know we have a guest today, so we're going to make plenty of time for that because that is one of the big events that's happening this weekend.
That's right.
We will get to that. The Buckeye Furnace Fall Festival. It keeps getting a little bigger and better every year. It seems like.
Does, and boy, it looks like gorgeous weather for it too.
It is, and I tell you what, I'll do this commercial at the beginning for that event and that place. If you haven't been out there, you got to see it, and the best time to see it is when all this is going on this weekend, this Saturday. The friends and the staff out there have created a day-long fun events, family oriented, and if you haven't seen the Buckeye Furnace, and maybe a lot of people still haven't because, one of its disadvantages is it's off the beaten track for sure.
It is.
It's out 124 and then you hit one county road, then you turn on a township road, but it's beautiful out there.
Yes,
and people who have not been out there would be surprised at the restoration. I mean, it's been there since the 70s, but it is really impressive to see the restored charcoal iron furnace, which was so important to our area. In the 1800s, that was the lifeblood of the economy there for a while, and the industry's changed, but that's what brought population to Jackson County in a very important growth period, and it's all out there to see. It's beautiful out there. They have a museum and store that's got a lot in it as well. I know that'll be open out there on Saturday, so that'll be nice. But Jim Meacham, who is the leading friend of the Friends of Buckeye Furnace, he's going to be here.
He's the friend.
He is going to be there to tell us all about it, and no one knows better than Jim on that. And that's a very dedicated group there that preserves an important piece of our history out there, and then comes up with things that are fun to boot to kind of dovetail with that. All right. As far as the news is concerned, we're going to hop over to Pike County real quick because there were some very important folks down there at what they call the Ohio State University South Centers. Do you know what that is, Jennifer?
Well,
a lot of folks around here don't know much about it, never been there.
I know. I drive by it and I see it.
You see it right there. You see it right there from the Appalachian Highway, State Route 32. It's on Shyville Road. You turn like you're going to the atomic plant, as we used to call it, but it's right there off the highway. You can see it. It is a development of the Ohio Department of Agriculture. They do agriculture-related work there, experiments, research, etc. And it's been there 30 years, which is amazing because I remember when they first built it.
That was just a few years ago, Pete.
30. Well, it's been 30 years, and they had a little celebration yesterday.
They did,
and it was so noteworthy that the Ohio State University president herself, Christina Johnson, was there. Also, the dean of the College of Agriculture, Dr. Kathann Kress, was there, and some other local folks too. That is a picture of some of the dignitaries that were there, and right in the middle of that, in the red shirt, if you're watching there on Facebook, computer or TV, whatever, that is Alan Stockmeister.
Yes.
Of course, very well-known Jackson resident. Who, of course, is our patriarch here at Total Media.
Yes.
And he is an OSU trustee member. So obviously he went down through the proceedings, and we'll have a nice report on that in our Saturday paper. But that's a very important development down there. Local people are employed. They do some very important work, just as they do at our research firm out here on Standpipe Road. So
That's correct.
So very nice event there. A local resident who a lot of folks may not know, he's out not always on the front lines, Brad Sherman, used to work for our paper.
Yeah.
He is a program assistant down there, and he had a very big role in putting the event together on Thursday. He helped us with our news coverage and preparations, and also I want to do a shout out to him. Our associate editor, Phil Buffington, who comes up here and talks on TV from time to time. He was there, and I know he's going to have a nice report that we hope to get in our Saturday edition of the paper.
Love that.
All right, on a sad note, we want to report, this actually occurred last Friday, the death of a very known local educator, Paul Seitz. I'm sure you remember the name, Jennifer, being a Jackson girl.
I do, yes. Mr. Seitz was a teacher at the high school for many, many years, and then I think he retired, but I did get to see him a lot. He and his lovely bride came into the restaurant quite often.
Gilda, yeah.
Always got to talk with him, and it was always a lot of fun.
Well, Paul was
he's definitely a character.
Right, Paul is a character, very forward personality, says what's on his mind.
That's right.
Very gentlemanly, though, very gentlemanly. I was never in I never had him in school.
He did kind of like the shop classes
he did
and
industrial
things like
arts,
that. Industrial
mechanical
arts.
drawing, the AutoCAD classes as we got more into the modern age.
Yep.
But let me tell you, when you're a teacher and you're in the state teachers retirement system, you can be fully pensioned at 30 years, all right, or something like that. It may be moving a little bit, but once you get to a certain amount, you're going to max out on your pension. All right. Well, Paul Seitz taught for a total of 54 years.
Wow. That does not surprise me.
54. He did 40 years at Jackson. He did 1 year at Chillicothe Middle School, and then he did 13 years at Wellston. In addition to when he was at Wellston, I think that this was simultaneous, he was a board member for the Jackson City Board of Education. And what was Paul Seitz's standing and respect and popularity in the community? He blew him away in elections. I mean, he was so electable. And then that tells you a lot about what people thought about him. But Paul died last Friday at the age of 85 after a brief illness. And tonight, they're going to have his calling hours and his funeral late this afternoon and early this evening at the Jackson Middle School football stadium, which, of course, is the former Jackson High School stadium. That is the building, the property where, he made a name for himself locally for all he did to educate children. I talked to several different people who worked with him through the years at both Jackson and Wellston. And Josh Willett tells this story. Josh taught with him. Josh taught at Wellston for 18 years, and at the same time that Paul was in Wellston. And the first day, Paul would always, introduce himself to the new teachers and say, introduce yourself. And they would say, well, I'm so-and-so, and I teach history. I'm so-and-so, and I teach math. Well, Paul Seitz would return and say, I'm Paul Seitz, and I teach students. And that was that's a little subtle thing, but very important about his approach
100%
on education. Hands-on. He didn't want to stand up in front of a group of students and lecture for 45 minutes. He wanted them to be engaged in what he was doing, being hands-on activity, asking questions, being part of the class, not just listening, and getting through the class with what he says.
What the fun thing about Mr. Seitz was in school, and I never had him as a teacher, but know many people that did, and always, had the utmost respect for him. But he, I'll bet you if you ask any student that had him, they would say he was tough. He was a tough teacher, and he was tough on you.
He was principled, had convictions. He was a disciplinarian.
Very much so.
He would listen to what you had to say, but.
But I can guarantee you that the students that had him, even if they didn't realize it at the time, he made a huge difference in all their lives.
There is no question about it.
Yep.
I never had Paul Seitz in class, but from what I heard, there was two men who could walk into a room and command attention, even with a bunch of boys.
Yep.
He was one, and D. Merrill Davis was the other. I'm not saying they're not others, but those are two that I know about.
For sure.
By just their mere presence.
Yes.
And so Paul, there was other aspects to Paul, too, in addition to all he did in education. He was a member of Gideon's International. That's the group that does the Bible distribution, among other things.
And that was one of the fun things that whenever he would come into the restaurant, he would always leave, some kind of parting gift, if you will.
Well, he
for the servers or for us.
Right. Well, he was a very giving person.
Yes.
And he was Masonic in the way he didn't push religion on you, but he wanted you to know how he felt.
Yeah.
And he would talk with you about it and so forth. And he always had a Bible on his desk at school, even in these ACLU ages where there's supposed to be separation of church and state.
Hey, you going to tell Paul Seitz he can't?
No, you're not. You're not.
I'm not.
And he always respected your beliefs too, but he let you know what his beliefs were as well.
Didn't apologize.
As a member of Gideon's International, Jen, he traveled to foreign countries, Africa, Europe, and all. A lot of people don't know that, but he did that. He also maybe gave as much blood or more than anybody in Jackson County. According to his obituary that I have, it says here, and I'm sure this is correct, he gave 10 gallons of his blood through his life to the American Red Cross, and he urged others to give blood as well. It wasn't enough for him just to do it. He urged others to do it. He urged others to do things for people who needed it. He was very charity-minded that way. He wanted to give people, a hand up, not a hand out.
That's right.
He wanted to help them as much as he could. But a very good man, a very memorable man, and unfortunately, finally dead at the age of 85. And man, he was a pistol to the end. I ran into him in the store. He always nice to me. I crossed paths with him because of what I do, when he was a board member and so forth. And he would always push me to be better than I am, to be the best person that I can, the best editor that I can, the best husband that I can. And I know he was even closer to a lot of the students that he had.
That's right. Yep.
So rest in peace, Paul Seitz. And if you want to honor Paul Seitz, calling hours from 4 to 7 at the Jackson High School Middle School Stadium. That's at the middle school,
so
not
outdoors.
At the high school. It's going to be outdoors.
Okay.
So it looks like the weather's going to cooperate.
Oh, it's going to be perfect.
Right. And the way that you can honor his memory in a tangible way, besides your attendance or whatever you want to do for the family, is to donate a Bible. They're going to have a point there at the calling hours at the stadium where you can drop a Bible in a box or something.
Oh, that's neat.
And that would be something I know that he would definitely approve of.
He would definitely love that.
All right, some physical improvements to talk about in the village of MacArthur. A lot of MacArthur folks who travel U.S. Route 50 to go back and forth, between downtown and West MacArthur, where the schools are, where some more retail developments are, they're applauding because the culvert replacement work is finally done. Now, a culvert replacement project sounds pretty dull, doesn't get a lot of news. Well, it was a big deal in MacArthur and for motorists that use U.S. Route 50 because if they would have had to close that highway totally, it would have been extremely inconvenient. Yeah, if you travel in MacArthur, if you're a local, there just isn't another way around. It isn't easy anyway. You're talking about going well out of your way if you can't travel that section of U.S. Route 50 between the downtown and the schools out there. It's where a restaurant is on a bend. That had been closed for several months now. That section of highway down to one lane. Right. They had temporary traffic lights there and barriers. They worked on one lane at approach. But even keeping one lane open, it was very inconvenient, especially during busy times before and after school. And they wanted so badly to have it done by school. Didn't quite make it. But this past Tuesday, it opened back up. The culvert replacement work in MacArthur. We'll have a story on that. We've already posted that it's open. We'll have a little bit more detail on that in our Saturday paper. For the young ones in MacArthur, at Wyman Park, they have a big project where they are installing new playground equipment, pretty much replacing almost everything. And here is the work in progress. They are almost done with it. It's
nice.
Not done yet. The park is open, but the playground portion remains closed while they take out the old equipment and they put in the new equipment. And most of the old equipment was able to go to a smaller park in the village of Zaleski. So it will continue to serve kids. But the new equipment, very modern, very nice, that was made possible through a joint project of the Creating Healthy Communities program of the Vinton County Health Department and the village's park board in MacArthur. They worked together to get money, cooperated. That equipment is going in now. You saw the picture there if you're watching there on your monitors. And that project should be completed pretty soon. We couldn't pin them down when it's going to be open for soon. They said it'll be done when it's done. That's always the safe thing to say. But it's
Definitely.
close. But it is close.
Good.
So that is Wyman Park, the village-owned park in
Love
MacArthur. All right, Jennifer.
Can we go play on the stuff?
Well,
Do you think they'll kick us out? Are we too big?
I probably am. Now, you being a horse queen and all, they'll probably allow
That's
you
my
on there.
in.
That is your in, right? Right. Okay. We have some big dates coming up as far as the general election is concerned. Believe it or not, we're almost just a month out from our November 2 general election. There is a lot on the ballot in both Jackson County and Vinton County. This is what you call one of your grassroots elections, where there is a lots of local offices involved: school board, village and city council, township trustees, etc. Not that many state and national offices, but a lot of local offices. In Vinton County, they're going to be helping to elect a new congressman. But for the most part, it's very local. Some tax levies will be on the ballot as well. But if you want to vote in the November 2 general election and you're not registered, your last day to do so is next Monday, October the 4th.
Uh-oh. Better get on it.
At the Vinton County and Jackson County Board of Elections, you can go. It'll be open through extended hours from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. Now, the reason we're showing you this picture here, this is going to be very important, Jennifer. You can register at the Board of Elections. The next day, you can start doing early voting at the Board of Elections. It's in a new place now.
It is.
And it's not very visible. You know, if you're traveling on South Street,
Correct.
A lot of people, I hope, know by now that the Board of Elections has moved from the courthouse annex on Portsmouth Street, that's the same building where the commissioners meet, to the Job and Family Services building. It's not Job and Family Services, it's just that there is room in that building, which is a county-owned building for the Board of Elections. However, it's in the back. So if you're traveling and you see the Job and Family Services office, the former Holzer Clinic for people who like us who are older, it's at 25 East South Street, just down from Cardo's a little bit, in that block between Broadway and Portsmouth Street. You have to drive into the parking lot on the east side of the building, go around to the back, and there are two doors. And the door on the left has that canopy, employee entrance. There is no huge sign there that says Board of Elections.
Okay.
There's a smaller sign, a poster, just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper on the door. And they have the slots where you can do the absentee ballots and leave notes and all like that. And you can go in and do early voting during regular hours, but it's in a different place.
Look for the big green awning.
Look for the big green awning. That is the door you go in. The other door is for Job and Family Services for their facility. So we'll try to remind you about that, the place to go in Jackson County. In Vinton County, of course, it's the same place. It's at the Vinton County Community Building where they have their elections office. That's on State Route 93 on the north side of MacArthur. But once again, voter registration, last day to do it. If you need to register or change your registration information, for instance, if your name is changed or your address is changed, Monday is the last day to do that. The Board of Elections offices all over the state will be open later, 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. Then the next day, starting Tuesday, October 5th, and all the way through Election Day or part of Election Day, early voting will be possible. It's the day before the election that'll shut down. Absentee voting will continue the day of the election, but it will be open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. next week, the Board of Elections, for early voting.
Okay.
And, of course, you can do absentee voting as well. You can drop off a completed ballot, pick up an empty ballot and fill it out, mail it in later, drop it off, whatever. You can vote absentee, or another form of absentee voting is the early voting where you do it in person, and that has to be at the Board of Elections. So that is another reason to know where you're going. But we'll keep telling you about that. Maybe we'll do some more television coverage on that later and show you the new office and where it is and all like that.
Yeah.
All right. This morning, we're going to tell you more about this next week. The United Fund of Jackson County had its kickoff breakfast, starting the new campaign, the new annual campaign.
Okay.
And picked up a lot of information there this morning, a lot of good folks. It's all volunteer, and the United Fund is like the United Way, but it's not the United Way.
It's our local version.
Here's the very important distinction.
Yeah.
The United Way is a national organization, good organization, but the United Fund was reorganized under that name locally a number of years ago because they felt like too much money was going out of the county.
Right.
Because, it supported the national organization, which isn't bad.
No, that's not
bad. But the local people want to put as much money as possible into the local agencies. And so the United Fund of Jackson County All the money that gets donated to that stays local. 15 different agencies. We'll maybe tell you more about that next week because they are in great need. The United Fund Board, all volunteers, 5 from Jackson, 5 from Wellston, 5 from Oak Hill, worked to raise this money. Last year, they had a goal of $125,000 spread over these 15 agencies that they allocated to. Because of COVID, they generated only $68,000.
Okay.
A little bit more than half of what they would like to have. And some of these agencies that get the money, some are private, some are public, but they count on donations. They count on they don't necessarily get big grants or government money or whatever out of state and local government funding. So they count on United Fund money. And if you want to donate to the United Fund, some people have the opportunity to do that through their workplace. Some of the bigger companies do a payroll deduction thing. It's voluntary, of course. That's up to you what to do. But individuals can do it too. And you can mail your donations to the United Fund of Jackson County at Post Office Box 242, Jackson, Ohio, 45640. Once again, United Fund of Jackson County, Post Office Box 242, Jackson, Ohio, 45640. Next week, Jennifer, at one of the times when we're talking about the news, we'll tell you more about the agencies and who gets helped and like that, because a lot of folks really don't know that. But you'll know the agencies, you just don't know how much they count on United Fund money. All right, in the city of Wellston, we talked about some good things happening in MacArthur. If you're a local in Wellston, you drive around Wellston a lot, you know that it's been hard to get around what they call the Scenic Highway, which is also officially called Wellston Park Road, but everybody calls it the Scenic Highway in Wellston. There's 2 bridges that are out. They've got one of them completed, and the city of Wellston posted this on their Facebook page. That's some of the city crew that worked on replacing that bridge, and it's all done. And so one of the bridges is complete, and they're going to be starting on the second bridge very soon, and that will definitely help motorists who getting around Wellston on the Scenic Highway.
Now, where is that, Pete?
Well, it's right off State Route 349 on the road you go to Lake Alma, and then it cuts over to the east, I guess it would be, towards the back end of the city and all the way to Mulga Road, which is on the east side of Wellston.
Okay.
So I haven't been on it myself, but I know that as a favored local route, when you want to avoid the main drag or whatever,
Okay.
or you're cutting around Wellston, the Scenic Highway, they call it.
Wow.
So it sounds like it'd be a nice place to drive, right?
I was going to say, I feel like we need to take a road trip, Pete.
All right, well, we'll do that. Well, one of the bridges is done. Another bridge has to be done. All right, it's homecoming week at Jackson High School. And here are the young ladies who are candidates for the 3 seniors are candidates for Queen. And of course, the underclassmen there are underclassmen attendants. And if you're watching on TV, I'm going to name these young ladies from left to right. You have freshman attendant McKinley Riley, sophomore attendant Kylie Duncan, junior attendants Abby Simons and Kendall Osborne, and then the senior attendants. One of these ladies will be Queen: Sage McCarty, Lauren Elliott, Olivia Kennedy, and Lexi Swain. 4 of those seniors, one of which will be crowned Queen. That'll be pregame ceremonies at Alumni Stadium when the Jackson Ironmen take on the Greenfield McLean Tigers. And now get this, they're going to do a dance, and it's COVID time, right? So how are they going to do this? They're going to do it outside in the Alumni Stadium parking lot. So Jim Meacham doesn't want rain on Saturday, and neither do the Jackson High School homecoming organizers, which is the student council and all the kids. They're going to do it out. They do have a rain plan, but they want badly to do it out in the parking lot. Not the stadium, but in the parking lot. It's a big parking lot.
Really?
Because it's a big stadium. And they came up with the theme. I think this is a good theme, An Evening Under the Stars. That works, doesn't it?
Totally makes sense, doesn't it?
Right. So the homecoming dance is on Saturday. The homecoming queen and court will be crowned and announced on Friday in pregame ceremonies. All right. Big party up in Vinton County, midnight at Moonville. That is a huge event. You'd have to be there to know. Have you been there before?
I have not.
Okay.
I've been to Moonville.
Okay.
Finally.
All right. Well, midnight at Moonville.
Party.
They have it in October, of course, in kind of conjunction with Halloween. I think it was going to be next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. Well, they made the decision earlier this month that they were going to cancel it because of what.
The Rona.
Right. They have to do a shuttle service. They get big crowds anyway, but they have to do a shuttle service, and they're worried about the coordination and all those people sitting close together because they get big crowds. And also they're worried about the big crowds. They're worried about exposing their volunteers to possible dangers because there's so many people together. It's dark and all. So Midnight at Moonville for the second straight year is canceled up in Vinton County. All right, we want to tell you that Total Media, we are in the process of moving. We're here now at the radio building upstairs.
We are.
But there's not a whole lot of us left here. The telegram and zip printing and some of the administration are already at the Stockmeister Plaza, 708 East Main Street, just several blocks to our east. And now, this was one of the sites, this building, 295 Main, where we sold advanced football tickets for Jackson.
Gotcha.
We were one of the ticket outlets. Well, now we are selling those tickets at Stockmeister Plaza.
Okay.
So if you're used to coming into the radio building to buy tickets, I mean, you'll be rerouted. It will only be slightly inconvenient for you, but we'll give you the heads up that now if you want to buy a Jackson High School advanced football ticket, a lot of people do that to avoid the lines. It's only $5. You need to go to the Stockmeister Plaza, which is the new home of Total Media, or it will be totally maybe by the end of October. TV will be moved. We will be moved. We'll be there, sometime here, maybe by the end of the month. It is supposed to be by the end of the month. The radio, Matt McKee and the crew, they will probably be bringing up the rear there because of how complicated it is to move all that stuff. But that's
right.
all supposed to be by the end of October. And I was told I was allowed to say that. So,
well, it's just we'll get there when we get there, Pete.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. All right, well, in addition to another thing that got canceled this weekend, as I told you on Tuesday, the Jackson Firefighters Association is not having their bean dinner.
Yeah.
They have a bean dinner, car show, and hog roast. They didn't do a car show 2 years ago, so I don't know whether they would have done that this year. Not sure. But there is no bean dinner or hog roast this year because of what?
The Rona.
The Rona, exactly. They were worried about volunteers. They were worried about the crowd. It is a fundraiser for the fire department. They feel they can get by and not do that this year. They hope to be back next year.
Yep.
Okay, the Jackson County Senior Citizens Car Show, which is a big event as well. They usually have that later in October. They moved it up to this Saturday, October 2nd, because they knew that the firefighters weren't doing their event.
Gotcha.
So that's going to be over on the Senior Citizens Grounds at 25 East Mount Street in Jackson. Register for the car show in the morning. They'll be on display the afternoon. Awards later in the afternoon around 2 o'clock. There's going to be a scooter board relay race. There's going to be a cornhole tournament. There's going to be food service as well. And that is a benefit for the Board of Aging and the Senior Citizens Program. And that is over at, once again, the Jackson Senior Citizen Center, 25 East Mount Street in Jackson. Football Friday night. As we told you, homecoming at Jackson High School, Greenfield at Jackson.
Yep.
That'll be on WKOV 96.7 FM. Wellston will be at Nelsonville, York. Wellston right now is in the running for the TVC Ohio Crown. They have not lost yet. They will be at Nelsonville, York, and this will be a big game because Nelsonville, York is pretty good. And Nelsonville, York, it's on their home turf. That game will be heard on 105.3 FM and 1330 AM. Wheelersburg will be at Oak Hill. That'll be on 97.7 FM. The Oaks will be back home, and they will be taking on a really tough team. The Berg is coming to town, the Pirates.
No.
Right, so that'll be tough for the young Oaks, but, I know Paul Carver will have his team ready to give them a fight. And then the other local game, not a league game, but a non-league game for the Vinton County Vikings. They've only lost one game this year. New coach T.C. Carver seems to be doing a great job. They, along with Wellston, are in the running for that TVC Ohio Crown. Even though this is non-league, important win as they try to keep up their momentum against Warren Local. That is, once again, at Vinton County. And now you don't have to worry about one-lane traffic on U.S. Route 50 to get there.
You got it.
All right.
Pete, I need to see. Hand me that paper.
This paper right here. There you go.
I got to show this.
You're not going to embarrass me, are you?
Yes.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm looking at I got to show this.
You are so cruel. There is some way that I'm going to get you back.
What language was that written in, Pete?
That's Sanskrit. That's Sanskrit.
I just happened to look over and I'm like, what is that?
The bottom line, was I able to read it or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. James may be in cahoots with me. Maybe even Jim Meacham will. But I am going to get you back. And you will be sorry. You will be sorry that you exposed me that way.
I'm just going to tell you, that is some impressive stuff that you can read that. Does all your writing look like that?
Yes. And I will tell you that within 24 hours, I can read 75% of it. So don't question me.
Pete's got about 30 years of yellow legal pads completely filled with.
Of that?
Well, when we made the move, we filled several bins. I'll just tell you that.
You know, the great thing is, if you have a diary or something, I mean, it will be the world's biggest mystery because no one's ever going to know what Pete Wilson was thinking.
That's all right. That's all right.
Can Pam read that?
She is the best interpreter that I have. Actually, she probably transcribes it again for me. So she doesn't do that much anymore. But okay, I'm going to leave here with my face red and everything, and I will.
I think it's impressive.
I will get you back. I'm not a vindictive person, but you open the door.
Ooh, I'm scared. Thanks,
I
Pete.
think you should be.
I'm a little scared. He is not vindictive, but boy, did I just tick him off. All right. Well, of course, don't forget Pete's Morning News Update brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you're looking to buy or sell or have any real estate needs, call Nia 740-418-4135, and she'll work hard for you. All right, let's head on over while our guest is coming over to the Total Media Radio weather forecast. And boy, oh boy, you can just come on over right here, have a seat. And boy, is it looking good for the next several days through the weekend. Today should be mostly sunny with highs around 77 degrees, lows around 48. For tomorrow on Friday, sunny and 75 for the homecoming game here in Jackson. And then on Saturday for the homecoming dance and also, of course, the Buckeye Furnace Fall Festival. Looking like mostly sunny skies with highs of 80 degrees on Saturday. So, boy, you did a good job of ordering the weather forecast.
We did. We've been watching it for weeks.
I mean, after having to cancel last year, you deserve it, right?
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
I'm going to guard my notes from this morning here.
I can read his writing. You got to admit, that's pretty funny stuff.
That's good.
That was pretty funny
That's
stuff.
Good.
So, welcome. Our good friend Jim Meacham is here. And tell everyone how you're involved with the Buckeye Furnace.
Well, we started years ago with the Jackson Historical Society. The Buckeye Furnace and a little later Leo Petroglyph come up. We thought it would be something that really needed to be guarded here in the local area.
Some of our great wonders, here are marvels of our area. They need protected.
Buckeye Furnace is one of 3 reconstructed furnaces in the United States, and it's really something that we need to protect. So
only 3 in the United States.
3 in the United States.
I didn't know that.
The rest of them are for the most part in ruins, except the stack itself is the only thing standing. All of the buildings and everything are gone.
Holy moly! I did not know that. I knew it was cool. I just didn't know it was that cool.
So we started Friends of Buckeye Furnace in order to protect this. It belongs to the state of Ohio, and it's overseen by the Ohio Historical Connection.
Okay.
They got to the point, they have 60 sites in Ohio. They got to the point where they couldn't keep up money-wise with them and so on. So they turned each of these sites over to a private organization to run.
Gotcha.
And it's been fairly successful.
There it is.
Yeah, there's a good picture of Buckeye. It's kept up by our group and the Ohio Historical Connection.
Very cool. So can we go back for a minute and talk about the history of the furnace and I don't know. I guess unless you're from here and we're from here several years ago, it's always several years ago with me.
Right. Okay.
Our heritage is the iron furnaces. That's some of the reason why we're here today. So could you tell everyone a little bit about the history of Buckeye Furnace?
Well, the iron furnaces in general is in an area called the Hanging Rock Iron Region. It's a area that starts in around Carter County, Kentucky, and goes up to around Logan, Ohio.
Okay.
It's about 100 miles by about 25 or so miles wide. And it's an area that has everything needed to make iron. It has the limestone, it has the charcoal, it has the iron ore itself, and so on. This became an important area. It was during a time here when there was the mass migration from the East Coast westward, into the western part of the United States.
Okay.
And they had made it to Ohio about that time. The Welsh settlers here, there were German settlers, and a lot of people that were able to man the iron furnaces. And we had the technology from Europe to know how to do these furnaces. So they became very, very important to us. They employed a lot of people.
They did, and of course made our area thrived because of it, of
Right.
course. So, what was done with the iron that was made here in our area?
A lot of the iron here from Buckeye actually went into cannons in the Civil War.
Really?
Now, Buckeye did not make the cannons, nor did they make any other recognizable things there except the iron, and it was shipped to other refineries other iron furnaces where it was refined into
Wow.
implements and so on.
Could you go, as we're looking at the picture there that James has up on the screen, could you, in a very short nutshell or small nutshell, kind of explain how the furnaces worked? I know from going out there, there's like a big wheel and there was water, I remember. But how did they make the iron?
The upper building shown in the picture was the top of the furnace. There was a steel door there that was lifted, and the products that went into iron making, the iron, limestone, the charcoal, and everything was dropped into that, through that hole into the furnace. We think of a furnace or a stove with a fire underneath it, but here this type of furnace had the fire actually inside with where the metal was being melted.
Really?
Which is kind of an unusual sort of thing. It was operated at about 2,300 degrees, and the iron was drawn off twice a day in the lower building.
Okay.
And there was a clay plug that held the iron back. As a man had to remove that plug, and the iron flowed out onto the floor.
And does it come out as a liquid?
It comes out as a liquid.
Oh, wow.
It runs down troughs and solidifies.
Is that it from a long time ago?
Yes.
Or is that a different?
That's a different furnace.
Okay.
I believe that's Madison furnace. I'm not real sure. But
Okay.
that's pretty much what the typical furnace looked like. And the lower building you're seeing there is where the iron was let out of the furnace onto the floor and solidified.
And then did they cut it?
It was broken up with hammers and
Okay.
loaded into wagons and taken into the town of Berlin Crossroads and loaded on a train there, where it was taken to another refinery to be made into implements.
Isn't that amazing that we did all of that right here in our area?
It is. We were one of 69 charcoal iron furnaces that were in operation. These were in operation during the 1800s up till 1916.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask you. And then why did they go out of operation?
Better iron ore was found up on Lake Erie. It was easier to move around in the lakes. It was a much better quality. And about that time, we were starting to see that we were going to run out of charcoal, which are made from trees. So these furnaces were built to run on coke. Coke is a processed coal.
Okay.
And it's actually cheaper, and in the long run, probably better.
All right. And were these individually owned, or were they owned by the government, or how did that work?
They were individually owned. They were run by a board of directors. several of these furnaces, I call sister furnaces, had the same board members.
Okay.
Buckeye and Latrobe.
There you go. You can see the inside there.
Yeah, okay. Buckeye and Latrobe Furnace and Keystone, for instance, were all pretty much owned by the same person.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see the furnace in the background there. Along with the iron, there was a waste product called slag. For every ton of iron made, there were 4 tons of slag that had to be gotten rid of. And it was poured out onto the floor in another place. While it was molten, they threw a chain into it. And they fastened that chain onto that wheel that you see there in the picture.
Okay, I was going to ask you what the wheel was for.
Wound that chain up and pulled the slag back from the furnace.
Okay.
And it was broken up with hammers and hauled off and dumped wherever they could get rid of it.
Gotcha. And what was it like?
Well, it looks like black glass.
Huh.
Black, you can't see through it. You can see through the edges of it. It is clear like glass.
Almost seems like there would have been some byproduct or something they could have made out of that.
Well, it turned out that later the roadbeds of the area are made from that.
Uh-huh.
It was a fantastic material to put down on the roads for a base.
I was going to ask about that. Okay, very cool. Yeah, so that's really interesting. And then, of course, when the furnaces, when they moved on, and what did you say about 1918, something of that nature?
1916, Oak Hill, the Jefferson furnace, was the last furnace to go out of business. It went out of business 2 days after Christmas.
Aw. Well, and then what happened? Did they just sit there and deteriorate, or?
They did. All of the wood and so on was destroyed by the weather and termites and so on. The only thing left was the stack, which was made out of sandstone.
Sure.
And they're still standing. Many of them have fallen, but here in Jackson County, we have 11 of the furnaces. I'd say about half of those are still standing. The other half are pretty much in ruins. Okay.
So when was the movement to start restoring the Buckeye Furnace?
It was in the 1930s. A fellow by the name of Morrow recognized that it was something that needed to be preserved.
Cool.
He had, I don't remember how many acres at the time, but a huge plot of land out there. And it was turned over to the state. In the 1970s, it was decided that they needed to reconstruct the furnace.
Okay.
And it was done by Stockmeister.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then it was maintained by the state and the High History Connection.
Very neat. And look at those guys there. I wonder when that picture was.
Pretty typical group. That probably was in the very late 1800s, just guessing. I don't recognize the furnace, but
it looks
that's
cold.
Jefferson and Oak Hill.
That's Jefferson. Okay, that was the last furnace again in 1916 to go out of business.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us up to speed on the furnaces. There's a lot more we could talk about, but we won't take 2 hours of your time to do that. But so who got the idea to do the Buckeye Furnace Fall Festival? When did that happen?
Well, we took over, Friends of Buckeye Furnace took over the furnace operation in 2007.
Okay.
And we recognized at that time that not only preserving the furnace, but we should be doing community things, trying to get people to come out and also providing a place where people could come out and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So we started having a fall festival and a spring festival. And the fall one became the larger one. There's a good picture of a couple of years ago there at the furnace. That's one of our fall festivals.
Very good. And what can people expect when they come out? And that's this coming weekend, right?
It's this coming weekend. We will have the festival going from 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
There's activities all day long. The important thing to know is that it is absolutely a family-oriented event.
That's right.
Want to bring the kids out. We have all kind of activities, wagon rides. We have music all day long.
Okay.
We start out at 10 o'clock in the morning with Andy Milliken. Andy was born and raised there in Raccoon Creek.
That's right.
Right there at Buckeye, really near Buckeye Furnace. Andy has a very laid-back type of music. It's bluegrass, it's Americana, it's folk music, all kind of woven into one show. He'll be playing till 12 o'clock. And at 12, the Sarmash String Band from Parkersburg takes over. They're a 4-member band. They started out locally there in Parkersburg and started expanding into Ohio. And they're known all over the border area between West Virginia and Ohio.
Very good.
One of the members lives here in Jackson.
Oh, cool.
They'll be playing till 4 o'clock. They have a very wide range of music. It runs from foot stomping to soulful to bluesy, bluegrass type Americana music. I know the people will enjoy coming out and hearing them. The thing you want to do is bring a comfortable chair and stay all day and enjoy it all.
Love that. That's so good. And it's going to be such a beautiful day for this.
It is.
I mean, it's just, if you don't get out and about and appreciate the beauty of our area, as so many people drive or fly literally from all over the world to come and see, this is a perfect opportunity for you to do it this weekend.
That's right. That's right. And we have a full schedule of activities all day long.
Okay.
Along with the music, there'll be food there. I know we'll have fresh pop kettle corn available, and there'll be hot dogs and other types of foods available.
Good.
We have contests all day long.
Hey, that's our good friend Kathy Smalley.
Kathy Smalley and Chip Smalley, and I know most of you know out there, is going to be cooking the beans.
All right.
Starting about 9 o'clock, we fire up the bean pot, and they'll be available all day long.
Love that.
Beans and cornbread.
Well, you can't have one without the other.
I make the cornbread, and it's good.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
We believe you.
All right. It gives, during the festival, we want people to visit the museum and gift shop. Masks will be required inside in the museum.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a picture of the museum and gift shop.
That's right. And what can people find when they go in there?
We have a collection. You have to realize that this building was the general store. The workers, instead of being paid in cash, were paid in script.
Yes.
And it was the only place they could spend it. So
yeah.
The general store had everything that they needed pretty much, or could get everything that they needed, including food and whatever items they needed were furnished there for them. The museum has a general collection of things that they would have sold during that time.
Oh, cool.
It's everything from food. They sold coffins. They sold everything that you can imagine out there. And we have kind of a collection that people can see what was sold.
Think Little House on the Prairie when you went to the general store.
That's right. That's right. And we have a very nice little gift shop. We have jewelry and wooden toys for children, and just a nice variety of odd things that people can't find other places.
Excellent.
All day long, we've got things like pie and cake baking judging contest and Little Mister contest.
Okay. Looks like that's a pie eating contest.
Pie eating contest, both adult and kids.
I like the trash bags. That's very effective.
Yeah. When we're done, we could stuff all of the paper towels in to clean up.
That's right.
That's a fun activity out there. We have kids' activities all day long.
Okay.
pumpkin carving. They can carve a free pumpkin and take it home with them.
Very good.
There'll be games all day. There's a picture of the pumpkins there from past year. Games, different things. There's a pony or a goat ride.
That's a goat. How cute.
I don't believe they'll be out there this year, but we will have wagon rides for the kids.
That's awesome.
I think they'll probably be pulled by a tractor, maybe horses.
Very good.
Among the food items will be Hobo Pies. These are made, these are bread that has a filling like peanut butter and jelly, for example. There's a special mold that they set into, and they cook them on the fire.
That is cool.
And the bread the mold actually holds or seals the bread around the edges, so you come up with a real unique food item.
Nice.
They have other stuffings besides the peanut butter and jelly. You kind of get your choice of what you want to put in there.
Love it.
They're one of our regulars out there. Hog calling contest.
James is going to do that. That's
Okay.
what he told me ahead of time.
What wasn't one of the fair queens? I think wasn't that her? Or no, was it turkey? It was turkey calling.
It was
It's
turkey
the
calling.
Wild Turkey Festival queen. The one
Yeah.
that was really
Maybe
good at
next
that.
year on that one. This is the first year for the hog
Yeah,
calling
the
contest.
one girl was really good.
Yeah,
at
she
turkey
was good at
calling.
turkey
Yeah.
calling. Yeah.
We suspect that there might be a couple people in the crowd that can put on a show for us. with
There
that
you
one.
go.
We have a real unusual one for the ladies, skillet tossing contest. They have a large plywood cutout of maybe a person that might look a little like her husband. And they have a chance to throw a skillet several times at this cutout, and we award points. At the end of the day, somebody wins a very nice cook set.
That's great.
They can take out their mads on their husbands through this. And it's been a real fun one. It goes on all day long.
That is so good.
We'll have a Chinese auction. It closes at 4:30, and the everything's given out during that time. We're having approximately 40 vendors out there this year.
No way.
This will be our largest year for them.
Wow.
It includes people that are selling items like soap. There's always a couple of toy makers there, wooden toys especially.
Neat.
I believe we have a knife maker this year. Pretty much anything you can think of.
Yeah,
in the way
get
of
your
crafts.
Christmas shopping done
Yeah.
early.
Yep. Really great things.
I just saw a news article about that yesterday, that they were saying shipping and things are going to be a nightmare this year. So even more reason to shop locally
That's right.
right now for Christmas.
That's right.
Be thinking about it.
But remember to bring your chairs when you come out.
Okay.
That's the one thing, and just plan to spend the whole day out there.
Very good. And there will be, so there'll be all kind of food and the kettle corn.
Right. The beans. Beans will probably be the main part of the food items.
Okay. The hobo pies.
Hobo pies are right in there too. Yeah.
Alrighty. And then did you mention a raffle?
We will be doing. I forgot the name of it. The tickets you buy for a drawing.
Like a 50-50?
50-50.
Okay.
50-50. We have a special
Or split
raffle.
the pot.
Split the pot is
Yeah.
the other name for it. We have a special raffle this year. The proceeds will be going to Four Winds Community.
Oh, great.
Four Winds will also be selling these tickets, but we're planning on having the raffle tickets out there for an Ohio State prize package, along with 2 Ohio State tickets to the Ohio-Michigan game. They will be 16 rows up from the field in the nice, comfortable seats with the back in section AA.
Nice.
So this is a chance to get tickets to go up and see the football game. Again, these will be available also from Four Winds Community.
Wow.
But we're going to get a shot at selling the tickets. Friends of Buckeye Furnace try to support Four Winds anytime we can. That's one of our charities.
Very good.
And that pretty much covers the festival.
Well, it sounds to me like you all have an entire day of fun planned and music, and who doesn't like that? And plus, it's just a beautiful setting.
It is. It is. We have a wonderful group of sponsors, including Total Media, that help us put this on every year, and we really appreciate their contribution. Also, Appalachian Realty, NIA, is one of the sponsors.
Very good.
But you have a large group of sponsors, and we really thank them.
That's right. If I remember correctly, being young, like a little girl, and going out to Buckeye Furnace, can you get inside the furnace, or like walk around it, or is it kind of?
You can get in all the buildings and everything right up to.
You
the
can
furnace.
see it,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what I thought.
It's open from dusk till dawn, and we do sometimes special tours for groups. If we know in advance they're going to be out there, we can do that. Our museum and gift shop, normal hours are just on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 12 o'clock noon to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And it's staffed by volunteers during that time. We're going to be open through October, and then we'll be closed for the winter.
Okay. All right. But you could still, even if you don't make it out this weekend, you could still drive out to the furnace and see it.
The grounds are open
anytime.
all year round, right? The museum just during the summertime.
All right, that makes sense. All right. But yeah, this area is just so beautiful, and especially this time of the year. You know, we just have so many gifts here, and we hope that you get out and appreciate it and see the beauty of the restored furnace and just have some fun this weekend.
Right. Nice place to come out and have a picnic and just enjoy the day.
That's exactly right. And how do you know? If how to get to the furnace?
Okay, the furnace. If you come out Route 32, you take Route 124. I think it's somewhere around 6 miles or so. There's signs going off to Buckeye Furnace from Route 124. That's out of Wellston.
Okay.
Just out of Wellston. You can locate it. It's 123 Buckeye Park Road on your.
So if you put it in the GPS,
it'll come up there. Yeah.
123 Buckeye Park Road.
Buckeye Park Road, right?
Okay, so there you go. It's as simple as that.
We have 270 acres out there to enjoy. We've got a couple hiking trails and picnic tables and whatever anybody wants to do.
That's right. Come on out. Just pick up after yourself and keep this place clean and nice for everybody to enjoy.
We spend time doing that.
Yeah. Well, pick up after yourselves.
That's right.
Give these guys a break. They've done enough.
That's right.
All right. Well, Jem, thank you so much for coming in, and we appreciate you so much. Your efforts toward the furnace, but also coming in today and spending your morning with us.
Well, we thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Anytime.
All right.
Anytime you have anything going on, just let us know.
All right.
All right. Well, that's our show for today. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and make sure that you do get out to the Buckeye Furnace Fall Festival this coming Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., going through 5. So, all right. Well, we'll be right back here tomorrow. Enjoy some sunshine and some beautiful weather out there, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.